What's going on, guys? Crypto Jeremy here, back with another Tau video. A little retracement today, as expected. Consolidation phase, as expected. We hit a high of 581. Yeah, double bottom here, playing out on the hourly at 520. So good support there. If we look at the actual fib retracement, that is not actually at a level, but we did see the 236 as a resistance. So yes, buying 520, selling 550 for traders might be good short term. Yeah, let's get straight into it. So first things first, moving averages, guys. Keep an eye out on the moving averages, especially on the daily. This will give a lot of information over the next few weeks. I would say about a week, 2 weeks. Assuming that price does stabilize a little bit for consolidation, it will be interesting to see if the 50-day ever crosses above the 9-day. These are moving averages I like to use. You can also use the 50 and 250 for longer term, the 9 and 20. Whatever it is, those are going to be important to see kind of this change in momentum, because that's, same with MACD. Look for MACD crossovers, always very, very good. These are all indicators to kind of see how much more can we run. But you have to also understand it's not only TA. For example, a lot of this is coming from Grayscale, right? So Grayscale is a owner. They own this. So Foundry right here. And so Foundry is currently getting about like 16% of, or like the difference between the stakers, validators. So you look at validator return, you can see it right there. They're making good money. These guys are making really, really good money. I haven't done the actual math, but I wouldn't expect it to be multiple thousands of dollars per hour. We're talking maybe, I should do the math, but point is, Grayscale is a company that's owned by DCG, which also owns Foundry. So it's like a subsidiary of the same company that Grayscale is. What that means is that a lot of this hype here with Grayscale new trust that they released, the BitTensor trust, which they released a few days ago. When did they release it? In late July. They released it with their other, or in late June, mid-June, with their other AI fund. This is something that they're going to be pushing. And so this is why we've seen Barry Silbert over the past few days pumping a lot. It's not bad. It's not bad because this really here is going to allow for a lot of institutional investment money to come in. So I would keep an eye on this right here. This AUM on the BitTensor fund, the trust, is going to be very important to keep an eye on, because this is going to see how much of this accredited investor money is flowing in outside of the crypto space, because anyone who's smart isn't going to want to pay the 2.5% yearly management fee, which is actually crazy. But you guys remember with Bitcoin and ETH, it was pretty similar, and they dropped it when the ETF got approved. Or actually they didn't even drop it. Like, they actually kept it because they wanted to suck as much money out as possible. Point is, that's why this has been doing so well recently, because a lot of figureheads like that have incentives to, bull post have been. Anyways, for validators, if you are staking, I would look at any validator that is giving a rake back. So what that means is that, as you can see here, let's say we have 100 Tau, right? If you have 100 Tau currently, you are making about $22 per day as a staker. However, if you get the validator fees, that's 20 fee level, that'd be $24 a day, right? Which means that you'd be making an extra, well, it's like 2%, give or take, on top. So like 2% of your 100 Tau. So that's a big difference, because over the year, you'd be looking at 8,800 versus 8,000, pretty much 10% more than if you were just staking like with Foundry or OpenTensor, for example, that are taking all the APR. And you can see right here, APR, look how low APR is. This has to do with subnets, so don't worry about that. That's unrelated, but you can definitely see a difference for like Datura, for example, 16% compared to like 13% with OpenTensor, that they're not giving any of the rake back. So keep that in mind. And understand that some people might want to do might actually want to support a specific validator. But the variation is pretty big, right? The variation is pretty big. You're looking at 8,400 here compared to 7,000 with OpenTensor or 6,000 with Foundry. It's a big difference. Anyways, keep that in mind if you're staking. So for price action, not much to talk about, to be honest. I'm looking at crypto in general. Crypto's kind of having a retracement here. If you look at the 7-day, for example, ETH probably going to bounce to mid 2500s, I would expect, and I think Tau might wick below 500. But I think a lot of buy pressure is ready. A lot of people are ready to buy, and I don't see any crazy wick happening. If we look at like the Bollinger Bands, I do not know why this is runtime error. That is so weird. Let's reload this. Pull the Bollinger Bands on. There we go. Or not. I do not know why it's not showing. Anyways, doesn't matter. Keep an eye out for that. TradingView, what is going on? There we go. Yeah, keep an eye on like the hourly, right? If you wick on the hourly outside of this, okay, and we're not in a non-convergence area like this, so not when there's no volatility, because then it really like converges a lot. But let's say hypothetically, right, we wick down to like 470 on an hour, and it goes below this. I believe this is the 2%. Sorry, not 2%. The 2 standard deviation. So it's 2 standard deviations. So 99 I believe it's 7% chance that it stays within these. And you can like do the math, and you can look at like the volume of each of one of these, right? So like if you the volume of this, volume of that, volume of this, volume of that, this little wick here in terms of volume right here below this is happening like 0.3% of the time. So it checks out. Buy on that 0.3%, sell on that 0.3%. That's the best advice I can give you, because even when it pumps like crazy, notice it doesn't go outside of that, because like for example here, right, where it pumped all the way up to 546, it would have to have gone to 560 in that hour, which is unrealistic, right? And you guys know that crypto dumps more aggressively than it pumps. So what that means is that if you can get that equivalent, but on the downside, you can buy when it's below the blue line on the Bollinger, that's going to be a local great buy, and you'll probably be able to flip it in the next hour if you want to, or just hold it and just accumulate dollar cost average. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I would highly recommend just sitting, chilling, seeing what happens. A lot of interest here happening. People will say dilution is an issue. It really isn't. The dilution is minimal. It's same as Bitcoin was. And the beautiful thing at the end of the day is that if this type of system actually does get to a level of global dominance, that will actually become a boon, because that means that you had, just like Bitcoin, you have this deflationary currency. It's gonna be like a few 5 to 10 years, but we'll see. It's a little bit optimistic to look out that far, but you can kind of view it as like the current, this current price compared to Bitcoin, right? Because it's gonna be the same max supply, so it'd be like 1/100th of the current market cap, fully diluted, pretty much, of Bitcoin. So yeah, currently, if you have 10 Tau, that's, I personally think that there's no reason why, because based on the 78% staked and the current market dynamics or conditions that we're seeing, Bitcoin dominance being so high, there's no reason why that you have inflow of money from a lot of these dead coins to Tau, because a lot of these coins here are just slowly going to be dying down. Like, I'm honestly surprised Cardano's even still around, but it's just slowly dying down. There's liquidity from coins like this. That's $12 billion market cap. If only like 10% of that was sold and market bought Tau, you understand how high that would pump the price of Tau. A lot of these coins, like, there's utility in some of these, like Monero, but then there's like coins like Aptos. I'm like Sui, for example. These are Polkadot. These are coins that are just up there because there's limited liquidity to dump that market cap. But there's so much value in those. And so if there's a slow bleed of those coins over time, market cap won't necessarily drop too low, because there's, algos are going to keep buying it and trading it. But it will allow for more liquidity to be injected into Tau. So that's my thought process. I think we have a big shift here in the next year or so from these dead projects that are just only around because of their name, to actual projects that actually provide value and have a incentive reason backing their actual valuation. Because if you're solving complex computing problems and you're rewarded in a coin that has a lot of value, the incentive to build better programs and models is very high. So that's just kind of how incentivizing intelligence, pretty much how it works. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, as usual, peace.